Ethan Parker is one of these people who have a special place in my memory. Me and Ethan do not hang out often. When we recorded back in December, we've probably not seen each other in a couple of years. But there's this beautiful reunion we had on this episode that I just crave more for. In the church, we often take for granted the creatives and the artists. We see people who can sing or play an instrument and think that probably does not take too much to just pluck some strings or to press some keys. But what is really beautiful is getting to see behind the curtain of our very own creatives. Ethan is one of those incredibly creative people. He's an artist and one of the best. To have someone who found this talent at a small church like Stockton Baptist and then develop it to the point to where he is traveling the world performing and being one of the small minority in the arts who is able to make a living performing in front of audiences is truly remarkable. And I can assure you that Ethan himself is remarkable even off the stage. I remember a few years back, me and Ethan going to get coffee together and seeing an entire coffee shop full of people erupt because Ethan was there. It's something I've never seen before. I get coffee with a lot of people. It's what I love doing. But Ethan's the only one who has caused the baristas to put down their kettles and say, hey. Ethan is an uplifting spirit when he steps in the room. And even over the course of having this discussion with him, my soon-to-be wife was giddy hearing him talk. After we recorded, Berlin told me just how much she loved spending time with Ethan and hearing him explain and tell stories because he's such a gifted storyteller. He captures your attention like no other, and even as I've edited this episode, my mood has been lifted. Ethan is a gem of a person. He's kind, present, and all in when he's with you. And I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did because it was such a delight. Be sure to follow us on social media in the links below. Check out our blog and continue to support us by rating this episode in your podcast feed and share it with a friend. It helps the podcast greatly, and we really do appreciate it. Now, enjoy this episode of Into the Fray with Ethan Parker. Do you still play shows at all, or?
Oh yeah, I played. I've got a gig at Mid Street coming up here. Next Friday. Yesterday I played a gig at that birthday party, and the Friday before I played at a country club. December's been busy for gigs, which is great. I love that because I love playing and singing and doing shows. That's where I feel most comfortable. Are we recording right now?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, here we are.
Nice.
This is going straight into it.
Oh yeah. So I'm sitting here with Ethan.
Hey guys.
Yeah, Ethan Parker. When did you came back to Valdosta a few years ago, right, to further your education and the arts?
Yeah, it's a weird story. So I was doing, or should I start at the beginning?
Go ahead.
Let's go all the way back.
Oh yeah.
So I'm from Valdosta, or I'm from Hahira, technically. I usually say Valdosta because sometimes people are like, "What, Hahira? What is that?"
Yeah, same. From Stockton. There's nothing.
What is that? Yeah. We have one red light. I'm from Hahira. Went to graduated from Lowndes High in 2011, and went to Valdosta State University and got my Bachelor of Fine Arts in musical theater. I graduated in 2015, and when I was in high school was when I really started getting interested in doing theater and singing and just performing in general. And I got my bachelor's degree in 2015, and then I started, traveling all over the country, doing, shows here and there, just kind of living like a vagabond out of my suitcase for a long time, which was great. I loved it. I was young, I was single, I didn't have anything tying me down anywhere. I would just get in my Toyota, and go wherever.
So you liked life on the road?
I did. I really did. I enjoyed because I enjoy, meeting new people and, making connections and,
but your family, like your parents are pretty planted, right? Like they.
Yeah, they did come see me. They flew to Colorado to come see me. One of my first big jobs right out of college was, I graduated in 2015, did some stuff, did some theme parks, did some children's theater tours all over the country and stuff. But then the one big thing that kind of really set, I'm going to put this in air quotes, my career, because what is a career, I was just doing what I like.
Yeah.
But the one like big moment that was sort of a shift for me was whenever I got the opportunity to play Jerry Lee Lewis. I don't know if you guys know who that is. Yeah, Great Balls of Fire, whole lot of shaking going on. He actually just passed away a couple weeks ago, which was, it was really sad. It was not a good day for me. I was very upset. But I got an opportunity to play Jerry Lee Lewis in this musical called $1 Million Quartet. And it is based on a true story about the night that Jerry Lee Lewis, Elvis Presley, Johnny Cash, and Carl Perkins all got together at Sun Studios and just had a big jam session. It was December 4th, 1956. It was unplanned. It was sort of ish planned, but it was it was a session for Carl Perkins, and Jerry Lee Lewis was playing the piano on the session, like that they were recording. And Johnny Cash came by, I think, to pick up a check or something. And Elvis came by because it was Christmas and he was seeing his family, and he wanted to come see Sam Phillips, who was the record producer at Sun Studios. And they pushed record, and they just let the guys sing and do whatever. And it's incredible. It's an amazing album. It's just these four guys they're all in their 20s, at the peak, like it's at the peak of their fame. Jerry Lee Lewis was just getting started and all, but anyway, so that's the show. The musical is based on that night, and in the musical, everyone plays their own instruments. So it's part play musical, and then it's also like half a rock and roll show because we get to play all these really amazing songs by these artists. And that was the first big, and I was like, I'll never be able to do this. Whenever I got the call to possibly do it and audition, I was like, I can't do that. I don't play piano like that. But I worked my butt off and kind of learned how to play rock and roll over a weekend, and got the audition, got the role. It was in Colorado in this little teeny tiny town called Grand Lake, Colorado, but there's this professional theater company there that they do amazing stuff. And I worked out there a couple of times, and my parents and my aunt and uncle flew all the way out there to Colorado to come see me, and it was became like a big family trip. It was so much fun. But they've come all over the place to come see me. They're super supportive. I think I got off on a tangent there.
No, you're good.
What was that talking
So was it, how did they respond when you were like, I want to go do this as a career?
I love my parents. They're super supportive. They've always told me and my sister both, we need to do what we want to do, go off and do what you want to do. And so they've always been super, super supportive. Never had, and there's never been a musician or an artist or anything in my family, so I was kind of like a guinea pig. But they've been the best. But they've been really, really good about, wanting me to go off and do my own thing and have my career as a musician and an artist and stuff. But they're also really good about keeping me grounded. Like all parents, they worry about, are you making enough money? like all parents do. And yes, mom and dad, I'm fine. Okay. But yeah, I love my parents. They're wonderful.
So when did you find out that you were like talented? Like how did you even start playing piano?
I always from as far back as I can remember, I was always interested in music, and one of the first, like a lot of younger Christians growing up, because I grew up in church, and the place that I heard music the most was in church. So I remember when I was a kid at Stockton Baptist Church, I would listen to and sit next to Miss Elsie Johnson on the piano, and just hear her play, and hear her sing, and just hear the choir. And that's the first place where I remember hearing music. And I guess the first sort of realization that it was something that I was more inclined to was, there was one specific day after church, and my mom tells this story too. There was one day after church where we had come home, and my grandmother had given me this little piano as part of like a Christmas present. It was just a little, toy piano.
Yeah.
The keys would light up so you could learn to play My Heart Will Go On, and Live in La Vida Loca. That was one of the ones on there. But the keys would light up and you just follow along to play it. But she gifted me that one Christmas, and one Sunday after church, I went back, and I could hear. I remember the hymns that we had sung in church, and I was just trying to pick them out as I heard them in my head. And my mom came back and she was like, "How do you know to do that? What are you doing? How do you know how to do that?" And I was like, "I don't know. I just kind of hear it in my head." And she was like, "Would you be interested in taking piano lessons?" And I was like, "Oh yes, I'd love to do that," because we had tried the sport thing. Sports is not my arena, unfortunately.
I'm with you.
As hard as I tried, I was much more interested in looking at the sky and the clouds while I was way. They
contemplating
put me
life.
way out in the outfield whenever I played t-ball, because they knew, they were like, this kid just needs to be out by himself. He doesn't need to be actively involved. I never had a particular bent towards sports, but music always definitely. But that one moment with my mom, where she heard me and came back and she was like, "Do you want to take piano lessons?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And so then I started taking piano lessons, and then around that, I'd always sort of been singing, but my singing and piano playing kind of came up together, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
So. Yeah.
Well,
and then,
were you nervous your first time singing? Or were you pretty confident? I think I got this.
I don't really remember my first. You mean singing a solo, in front of people, by myself?
Yeah. How do you even get the courage to be I think I can sing in front of people?
That's all God, man. That ain't me. I don't know. I don't really remember the first time that I got up to sing or play the. Well, actually, I do remember one time, and I still get very, very nervous. Stage fright is not a thing, and you can ask any seasoned performer, they're always going to tell you, yeah, I get nervous. Absolutely, I still get stage fright, but you kind of learn to deal with it, and you get used to it. I still get nervous. I'm nervous right now. But no, whenever I get up in front of people, you learn to quell the nerves, and to use them, as energy.
I would think it's too, the more you do something, the more you're you've kind of built the record up, and you're
mm-hmm.
I've got over this before. It builds that confidence.
Exactly.
Be I can do it again.
It does, yeah. But yeah, no, I definitely still get nervous. I don't remember the first time I singing, but I remember one time at a piano lesson, or at a piano recital. I don't remember what I was playing. I was a kid, but I got so nervous that my foot was on the pedal on the piano in my teacher's house, because that's where we had our recitals, and I was getting so nervous that my foot was shaking, and it was vibrating the pedal, which was vibrating the whole sort of piano back and forth, and I was that I remember being okay, you got to get it together. You can't do this anymore. So that was kind of the moment where I was like, yeah, you gotta figure something out here, because you can't make this piano shake like that. Because I was playing, but the piano was going wah, 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 just because it was vibrating. Yeah, it was bad.
Okay. Was there ever a thought that you'd lead worship in a church, or was that kind of I thank you for introducing me to this gift, but I want to go and perform shows? Because they're like letting like you lead worship at Grace.
I do. I lead worship at my church and have been doing that for a long time. I mean, no, I started just playing the piano, not like singing and leading, but I started playing the piano at my church when at Stockton back when I was like, I don't know, 12 or 13 was when I sat down and played like a full service or something like that. I don't remember the exact age, but I think I was about 13 or 14. I couldn't drive. I do know that. Yeah, I used to think, as a lot of people, a lot of Christians did, I think, for the longest time there was this notion of, well, you don't need to pursue art unless you're doing it explicitly in service to the church or ministry or something like that, which is totally not right. So I used to think, I really want to sing and be in front of people and play the piano and, just be a performer in general. But I struggled with, well, can I only do that as like a worship leader? And I used to think that was when I was younger, but as I've grown older, like, no, you use your gift, and it's it's not like you can parcel off your life and box off yourself,
So was there ever a point where you're like, maybe you're feeling some of the pressure of like, I have to like use this gift for the church?
Yeah, because people were coming up to me all the time being like, oh my gosh, I can just see you as a worship leader. I can see you up there singing and leading worship. And
I got a vision from God. You're the next Chris Tomlin.
Yeah, right. So there was always that pressure, and there was also always a pressure to be like, oh my gosh, I can see you being a great teacher. You would be such a good teacher with the kids and teaching music. I can see you doing that. And I was kind of like, well, I don't really want to do that. That's great, but I don't really see myself doing that. But I love leading worship at our church now. Like it's one of the highlights of my week, because there's something about people don't realize how much of a blessing that I, as a worship leader, get out of it as well. Not only, there's definitely things where I'm thinking about, well, you played that wrong, or, well, you sang that wrong. That wasn't really great. You could have practiced a little bit more. All those things that are in every artist's head. But there's something about getting up there and you're singing in a room full of people, and being up at the front, I hear everything coming towards me. People are singing towards me. So like, oh my gosh, hearing a congregation sing praises to the Lord, like with one voice and singing with gusto, and just singing it out and not letting anything hold you back.
I think that was really awesome. One of the cool parts about being at Grace when I was which you weren't completely like, you would lead every now and then.
I was because I was still traveling and doing gigs and stuff, so I was not there.
But it was like a little bit of a culture shock, because I grew up at Southside, and Southside you had the big speakers, the big sound room and sound booth, and everything was like production oriented.
No,
and
we're low tech. Low tech.
Yeah. Well, when I first started coming to Grace, y'all were in the shop.
Oh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
I still like the vibe that was.
I loved that too.
Yeah.
I loved it.
But I remember the one of the nice parts about being at Grace was I could hear everybody singing around me, and even because I sat usually around a bunch of families, because I was close with Kobe and Joey, so I just naturally would sit with them. Well, Kobe he only had Isaac then, and then Jennifer and Barry were behind me, and then there's just kids crawling all around you,
yes,
like grabbing your leg during the service.
Yeah.
And you can hear them even singing.
Oh yeah.
And it was like so like refreshing,
so
because growing up it was like I didn't really hear. I only heard the worship band, the professionals sing. So being at Grace, it was like you're hearing everybody sing, and it actually sounds really beautiful together.
Yeah, it sounds great.
And it's like, none of us are trained for this, but it's coming out great.
I get such a blessing from it.
And even that's one of the things I liked about Ryan Adams when he's our former worship leader. When he was leading worship here, was he tried to shift it a little bit more into the direction of, this is very production still, like there's still a lot of production behind this, but I'm going to make it a regular habit to like draw the congregation into singing, and we're going to kill out all the noise.
Oh yeah.
And so it was like refreshing because you're hearing this church, a bunch of us are like new believers or kind of been hurt by the church, and you're hearing us, people who are kind of like to ourselves, very individualistic, having to open up and sing in front of each other because the worship leader is like, we're not playing until you sing.
Yeah.
And
nice.
At first it was awkward because no one, like, we're all looking around at each other like, you singing or me? Like, I'm not going till you go. But then over time, like, we'd get more comfortable with it, and Ryan helped build that culture of worship. And now, like, Ethan, he's our new worship leader.
Not me.
No, not
me for everybody listening.
We'll have this Ethan on later. But he does the same thing, and it's just this really cool moment every time they do it. You just let the congregation sing.
I do that. I try to do that once, one verse or one chorus every song that we sing, because we usually sing about 4 to 5 songs during our worship. I'll do a verse where I completely drop out and it's just voices and everybody sings out, and there's some people sing harmonies and like, oh gosh, it's great. Yeah, I love it.
It was also like really cool. One of the things that just hit me when I was at Grace, there was this lady, I don't know her name, but she sat in the front row and she would sing, like, she'd get all into it. Like, she was like, the rest of us were like singing,
but she was
singing.
She was singing.
Yeah. And like singing. She overdid, like, she carried out the notes longer than the rest of us. But even that was like refreshing because it's like
someone who's not afraid to.
Yeah, like you don't care.
Not held back.
You're all in. You love singing praises to God, and you love this part of the service, and it's just refreshing because it's like sometimes, I don't know, you can just get cynical, and you're just like, especially being at a church now where like sometimes we can be a little bit more production oriented, where it's like everyone's got to sing perfectly, you got to like have everything timed out right.
Yeah.
To have someone who just belts it out and could care less about
the lights and the sound and the speakers and the.
I think that's like the group Maverick City Choir. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's one of the things that's like refreshing about them is like sometimes their songs, it's like you just literally hit record
and just let them go.
Yeah.
Just let them go.
And you guys are really in it. Like you're fully present in the moment, and it's just refreshing because sometimes we get caught up into.
Yeah, we do. I've been to many a church where, oh Lord, I'm going to tell this story. Nobody from this church is going to be listening because this is in a completely different city and different church, different crowd. I was doing, and I won't say where. I was on a contract for a couple of weeks doing a show in this one town, and wherever I am in the world, I always try to find a place to go and worship on Sundays. But I was at this one church, and it would be what you would call, I think it would be what you would call a mega church.
Yeah.
And I only went there because there were people that were in the show with me that went to that church, and I was like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll come with you. And they were starting. You're gonna roll over when you hear this. They were starting a new series on prayer. Okay, and no joke, one of the songs that we sang in worship now, like as a worship song. This is not a joke. We sang "Living on a Prayer" by Bon Jovi. Whoa, we're halfway there. Whoa, "Living on a Prayer." No joke. And I'm sitting there going, what in the world? What? Where have I stepped into? It was crazy. It was crazy. And then,
I'm used to hearing that pastors like come up with sermon series like that.
No, dude.
I mean, this is like they sang the full song.
The full song, like one of the Christmas services that I went to, in the worship service, we sang Feliz Navidad. And another song that was sung during that service was "Purpose," the Justin Bieber song. No joke.
Oh,
no joke.
okay.
No joke, no
maybe.
joke,
Maybe you got...
Maybe. I mean, when I first heard it, I was like, okay, this is interesting. It was, you know, it was never, there was never any direct reference to God or Christianity in the song. It was more just like a positive, uplifting song about having purpose. And I was like, okay. And then someone leaves over to me and was like, this is a Justin Bieber song. And I'm like, I gotta get out of here. But yeah, those, which is why, you know, I've had some bad experiences like that. And the lights are moving, you know, they had all these moving lights and they were pumping in fog and smoke and, you know, videos were playing. And I was like, is this a concert? And I mean, they were cranked. The music was cranked when we were singing Living on a Prayer. And people were belting it out, but I was just like, I gotta get out of here. I'm not gonna say.
I'm still stunned by the Purpose by
Purpose,
Justin Bieber.
Yeah,
yeah. So even before he really started singing about Jesus,
words on the screen, like band playing, we were singing a Justin Bieber song.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I remember us talking years ago about you being at a church and them singing songs. Secular songs that had nothing to do with Jesus.
Had nothing to do.
Man, okay.
Yeah. And I could see where, like, in, you know, just talking, you know, the like you said, the pastor making a joke. Well, we're starting a song on prayer. He said we're starting a new series on prayer, so we need to sing "Living on a Prayer." He said that in the sermon. Yeah. It was something. Okay. What were we talking about?
Yeah,
before I went off on a tangent. Well, just like, you know, the production side of things.
Yeah.
We have, you know, at Grace, we've made a real concerted effort to not become that, because, and I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. There's some stuff that's wonderful, I think. We've made a real effort to not go too far into the getting caught up in stuff.
Yeah.
You know, we keep it pretty simple. It's just me on the piano with a microphone and one speaker. I mean, because our church is not huge. Like, you know, we don't have 300 members. But we really tried to keep it simple and let the words shine on what we're singing. So
yeah, that's again, it's just refreshing, because sometimes, which we've talked about it before on the podcast, for me, the worship style at Grace was like I was constantly every Sunday having to enter into a different world. Mm-hmm. I was like, I don't like feeling this way. Like, not only are there people like 30 years older than me, a lot of them, but like I'm also having to like jump back to like the 1800s and sing some of these hymns. And
man, they're so good. Some of them are so good.
Some of them are so good, but then it was like sometimes I'm just like, man, I really like some of this new stuff.
Oh yeah, no, we do.
And which I have heard that y'all have shifted.
We've completely shifted. I mean, since you were there.
Yeah.
That was a couple years ago. We've completely shifted. We're doing. You know, we still sing those old great songs because a lot of them are really theologically sound. And some of them are just beautiful to sing. But we do a ton of new stuff.
Yeah.
Especially since I've been like back. Because that was one of the things that was always really challenging was, you know, I would go off and do a cruise ship for 3 months and I would be away from home. And then I would come back and I would obviously go to church and I would play, you know, for 2 or 3 weeks when I could before I went off to my next gig for, you know, 3 or 4 months. And then I'd come back. And so it was just that ping pong back and forth. But a blessing that being back home has it's really allowed us to kind of really set in stone, and not set in stone because nothing's ever set in stone, but really allowed us to
get a footing
of how we want our worship to go. And me being back, you know, I've really been able to get us away from, you know, bringing in the shade, you know, we don't do any of that. You know, it's very, very worshipful. And the good thing too about it when it's just me playing is that I don't necessarily have to communicate my other musical ideas with other other musicians, I can just make it up, which is usually what I'm doing. I'm making it up as I go along. But I try to make everything simple, but still worshipful, if that makes sense. So that's one of the best things about having been home, because this is the longest. I came home in February of 2020 because I got kicked off our cruise ship because of coronavirus.
Yeah.
I got kicked off the boat, came back home.
That you were trapped on for a while too, right?
Yeah. We haven't talked about that. I was stuck on a cruise ship for about 2 weeks. My contract was supposed to be for 5 months. I boarded the ship in November 2019 in Hong Kong. I met the boat there, and we were doing Asia. It was an Asian itinerary, so we were doing China, Japan, Taiwan, Cambodia, the Philippines, Thailand. It was incredible, and I was supposed to be there through April of 2020. Well, around January-ish, we started hearing all this thing about this coronavirus thing, which was in all these countries that we were going to and that we had been to, and we were all like, well, people are dying from this. I wonder what's going to happen with this. We'll see. So we there was one cruise where we docked in Taiwan, and we were supposed to have an overnight in Taiwan, and we were docked with this other boat, the Diamond Prince. I'm pretty sure it was the Diamond Princess. And I got off the ship that day to go explore, because with my contract, we were able to do that. We didn't have any other duties. Like, we didn't have to stay on board. We had guest status on board. All we had to do were our shows in the evening. So it was great. I just got to go off and be like a guest for the day. So got off the boat, came back in the afternoon to get ready for our shows, and that other ship had already left. And we were like, well, that's kind of weird. They were not here for very long. And come to find out, that ship, the Diamond Princess, I think it had over I don't want to get this wrong, but I think it had over 100 or so positive cases on board of coronavirus. And so Taiwan made them leave. Like, they said, you have to leave. And then they made us leave too. And because the captain came over and was like, folks, we're gonna have to leave. And we were like, oh, that's scary. So we headed towards our next destination, which was, I believe it was the Philippines. Got halfway to the Philippines. Philippines would not let us in because of coronavirus. Now, nobody on our ship ever had it, but everyone was scared because, we were traveling to all these different places and possibly bringing it into their countries. So I could see why they would have turned us away. Yeah. And they turned us away, and then so we headed back to, we were like, okay, well, we'll head to our next destination, which was Thailand, I believe. And Thailand said no. And so then we just ended up circling in the ocean, literally making circles for about 10 or 12 days before the Cambodia finally let us dock. And by that point, the cruise had been canceled. They said, folks, we're just going to get everybody home. You're going to get a full refund, all of that. And it was around this time that my grandmother was on her deathbed. So she was in the final stages of her life. And so whenever I had a free moment, I was trying to text or call my mom, getting updates. And so dealing with being stuck on a boat in the middle of the ocean on the complete opposite side of the world, while my whole family is grieving my grandmother on her deathbed, and I'm like, I gotta get out of here. So when I found out we were docking, my mom had told me, it could be any minute now. And I made the decision that I need to go home and be with my family. So I went to our entertainment director and told him the situation, and he, shout out to Benny, love you, Benny. He was great. We used to talk about worship all the time. He was great. He ended up getting me plane tickets. I came home with no problems. I actually got to see Granny, and then she passed away the next day. And I was the last. They said I was the last member of the family that hadn't seen her yet. So it was really sweet to come see her, and I sat next to her and I sang, and she wasn't responsive at that time, but they said she can hear you. So yeah, it was really, really sweet to have that moment. And then she passed away the next day, and I had gigs lined up. This was February of 2020. I had gigs lined up for the rest of the year, and thought that I was, well, okay, I'm home away from the coronavirus. That won't be a problem anymore. That contract just got cut short. It'll be fine. And then a couple of weeks later was when the shutdown happened in the United States, and I lost all my jobs, all my future gigs, and I'm sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Because that was my income. I was just a gig worker, so I had no job. I was completely unemployed. And then the opportunity came for me to go to grad school. An old professor of mine called and said, hey, there's an opening in the music department. Would you be interested in coming back and getting a master's in piano? And you would be working with the theater department with a graduate assistantship. And I'm like, oh gosh, yeah, that sounds great. And it was paid for. I actually got a stipend every month for my assistantship, so I was getting paid to go to school. And so I know that was God being like, hey, here's something for you to do. Here's what you need to be doing right now. And so, yeah, I've been home ever since, which is the longest I've been home, since I, was traveling right after college.
Yeah.
That was a long explanation. I don't even really remember what we were talking about. I started rambling. I'm sorry.
I don't either. But it was good. This is a question I had earlier.
Mm-hmm. Did I not answer?
No, beginning. No, this was like a question that just popped in my mind. Have you seen that movie Tick, Tick, Boom?
Of course. I love that movie. It's incredible.
Yeah, incredible.
Andrew Garfield is like, he's an icon.
Yes.
He's amazing.
So in that movie, it sometimes I feel like this is kind of the energy I get from a lot of my artist friends is you feel like time is running out.
Yes.
Is that something you felt?
Absolutely. And I think one of the reasons that movie spoke to so many artists, and more specifically to theater artists, is because you, unfortunately, in the theater world, you kind of are on a clock, because there's going to be a moment where you don't necessarily fit into your type that you had been playing before. And there's always that feeling of, oh gosh, there's going to come a day when I'm not going to be doing this anymore, and when is that shoe going to drop, kind of thing. That movie is amazing.
So how do you deal with that, of like you're constantly, I don't know, because I get in that movie,
which is
sometimes
based on a stage musical.
Yeah,
it's like a true story.
Jonathan Larson, he's struggling to, I guess, reach his goals, his dreams in a certain amount of time, and through that process, you're watching him kind of like ruin a lot of friendships and relationships at the same time. So, I mean, how do you balance that? Of like I even feel that struggle of, you want to reach all these goals and you want to be this hardworking individual and you want to like grind hard, but you're also like, I don't want to be a jerk to my friends and like cut them all off. And so it's like this constant it's always balancing.
Yes, I mean, being an artist is always a balance of doing your art and fulfilling that part of you.
Yeah.
And also maintaining balance with your friendships, with your relationships, with finances.
Yeah.
That's a big one. I don't know if you remember that movie, but he was pretty cool.
yeah.
He was struggling. I mean, and I think every artist will go through that at some point, struggling. And I think the thesis of that movie is art versus making a living. Can you make a living doing your art? Some people can, a lot of people cannot. I remember there was this really eye-opening moment. I was at a theater conference, and there was this really famous Broadway performer there. His name was Terrence Mann, and people had an opportunity to come and ask him questions after his keynote speech. And one guy said, what did he say? It was something like, I feel like a lot of things that keynote speakers say is just kind of blowing smoke, and what is your legitimate advice? And he said, okay, I'm going to get real with everybody for a second. And this is in a room full of 500 college-age theater kids, right, who are just bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and ready to take on the world. They're really gung-ho for the theater, and who all want to make it. He said, turn to the person to your left, turn to the person to your right. Two of you in 10 years will not be performing anymore. You will have completely changed careers. And that was really, that was something. And that's real. It's a hard struggle to try to make your art your career. And knock on wood, by the grace of God, I've somehow come out on the other side of that. But your question was how do you sort of manage and maintain that?
Yeah, how do you? Because you want to be successful and you want to do everything to the glory of God, so you want to do it to the best of your ability, which means you're going to have to work your butt off.
Yeah, you work your butt off.
But then you're also but part of my Christian values too isn't just to do my work to the glory of God, but to care about the people in my life to the glory of God. And it seems like sometimes I don't even feel like this is just true for the people in the artist realm, but even people wanting to start a business, sometimes that's that can be the tension. Is you're trying to
you want to do this thing that you want to do that you were hoping is going to be successful.
Yeah, and all the
your baby,
all the self-help gurus or the big business guys are saying you look at Elon Musk's schedule and stuff like that, and you're like,
yeah, good Lord. Dolly Parton gets up at 4 a.m. every morning to get work done.
Yeah,
every morning. And she's working until into the night.
And you're just that's kind of to me. Sometimes I'm it's really inspiring to watch a guy like David Goggins grind his butt off and get up at 4 a.m. and just go work out and then do all these different things. It's very inspirational. But then I have to catch myself and be yeah, but you also have people in your life to care about. And so you're trying to be inspired by David Goggins and Mr. Rogers at the same time. And it's a weird thing because it's sometimes I feel there's very few people who seem to have try to find got some balance
in both. I if you know that person, please send them my way. I'd love to talk to them.
Yeah.
I think that's, like you said, it's not just an artist's problem. I think it's just a people problem, trying to maintain the balance.
I remember Tim Keller even talking about one of the conversations he had with his wife before they started Redeemer. He's okay, we're planning a church in New York City. I'm not going to be here with the family for 10 years. If you give me that, then I can be with the family.
Oof.
And it's
oof.
That's
tough. That's a big leap.
And it worked, but then it's kind of I remember Lecrae sharing a story about Billy Graham, and Billy Graham, he's doing all these crusades and he reached a ton of people for Jesus, and it's amazing
all over the world.
And then there's a story that at one of these revivals that he was at, some lady brought him a baby, and he's oh my gosh, it's such a beautiful baby. Whose is it? And they're well, it's yours.
Oh my God.
And he couldn't even recognize his own kid because he's always on the road. And it's well, you see the cost of success sometimes, even when you're doing things to the glory of God.
But there is a way to get there is a way to get that kind of mucked up. If and I'm guilty of this too. You get so focused. I've definitely gotten tunnel vision with my goals and wanting to do perfect my career and all that, and I have let things slide that shouldn't. Relationships, money in the past. It's really easy to do that. But like I said, I don't think that's just an artist's thing. That's an everybody thing.
No. Yeah, but that's this. I feel artists sometimes the beautiful part, or I guess this is part of their job, is just they're able to communicate that struggle. With the tick tick boom that we all relate to. I'm not trying to get my play on Broadway or anything like that, but I'm but I have all these goals, and sometimes it does feel like I'm on this treadmill, and the treadmill's like the time's running out,
Time's running out.
and you're just. But it goes back to like that danger of that hustle culture sometimes of
the grind culture, yeah, which I think is so not good.
no,
because what is that for? Like at the end of the day, this sounds really morbid, but I tell myself this a lot. Like you're just gonna die. Like you're gonna die one day, and none of this is going. None of the money that you've made, none of the success that you've had is going to matter.
Yeah.
What's going to matter is your relationship with the Lord, and that's the most important thing. So keeping the main thing. I think that's one thing that that's kind of helped me in this sort of transitional period that I am in my life. I just turned 30, which some people say that's when an actor dies, when you turn 30.
Wasn't that Jonathan Larson's like age or something like that?
Jonathan was turning. He was turning 30, and that was the time that was going off when the clock struck. His birthday. That was boom, tick tick. But
nice.
What was I saying?
You're turning 30 and
turning 30 and now I'm just thinking about Andrew Garfield in Tick Boom and how awesome he was in that film. He should have. I feel like he should have gotten an Oscar for that. Yeah. But what were we talking about, Austin? This is my tangent. I was in a transitional period. I'm in a transitional period now where I haven't done theater in a really long time, longer than sometimes it hurts me a little bit to say. The last time I did a show, hopefully that'll change in the future. But even if I never did another play or another musical, you have to make sure that you, like I said, you got to keep the main thing, and the main thing that you're here to do is bring glory and honor to God, whether that's being on stage and touching people or touching people's lives with your art, or whether that's working in a business and we're his workmanship, whether you're working in this area or this area. We got to keep the main thing. And I think that's one of the ways that I have not sort of let the depression get a part of me, because there's a lot of performers, and I'm speaking a little bit more towards theater people because that's me. I've seen a lot of my friends get absolutely 100% depressed because the thought of not being on stage again, like it kills them, and it really can send someone into a depression. But
isn't it that weird moment where it's like, I feel like I've heard this with a lot of actors, and I think one of the more recent ones was like Letitia Wright, where she's like, I was about to quit acting, and when I became okay with that, and I remember like my faith is the most important thing.
Is the most important thing. Yeah.
That's when she gets the biggest role of her life.
Yes. Yeah.
But then it's like I feel like that's kind of like the weird thing that happened with me in Berlin was my big goal was I want to get married and have this beautiful family, and being single for 5 years, you're like, man, like I'm young, but I really feel like there's no one out there. And I'm like, I'm having like this idolatry issue. But then when I finally was like, it's okay. Like, I just need to trust God. That's when Berlin comes into your life.
You're speaking to me right now. I've been in that position. Let's talk about that for a second. Having a family and wanting all of these things while still trying to cultivate that artistic part of yourself. I think that is probably the hardest thing to do, because I also want that. Oh boy, do I want that. I really want to get married and have a family, and have a house and some stability. And I hate to say it, but in the theater world, sometimes that is in the minority. People having a stable performing gig or performance career and still coming home to the wife and kids every day. That's few and far between. It happens, But it's not for
Yeah.
it's not for the faint of heart. That's something that I have been struggling with, and I've always sort of wanted that. Like throughout my whole life, I've always wanted a family. But it's been recently since I've been back home, and I've been in one place for longer than 6 months, and turning 30, it's been kind of like, okay, the clock really is ticking here. Ain't got much time left, God. But really learning to sit back and have to trust that, you know what, that is not your main thing that you're here to do.
Yeah.
You're here to bring glory and honor to Him. And if you do get a wife, and Jesus, if you're listening, which I know you will, I want that to happen, please. It's tough. That's really tough.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like there's two people within me. It's a Jekyll and Hyde thing. One of them is the artist side that I know how much of a high I get from performing, and I know that feeling that I get. But I also know that I really, really want to do this other thing too, and trying to see if those two can work.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough, man.
Yeah. Of like, it's... I don't know. Mr. Joey was... he's one of those very rare people who I feel like... Even like you... I listen to his story so much, I'm like, it doesn't make sense how things have worked out for you, because it feels like the odds were against you in a lot of areas, but somehow like he's got it written on the wall somewhere, I think. But it's like stop worrying and just trust God. And like, even with
that easy,
like,
it sounds that easy, but
yeah, he's a businessman. He's had this business for like 40 years now, and there's been moments where like they've been in the red and they haven't had all the finances that they need to keep the business going, and things were not looking good. And even like the start of the business of like, he's working under this like carport that has a hole in the roof and there's no walls, and he's getting ripped off by somebody charging rent for it.
Yeah.
And like there's all these areas where it's like it doesn't make sense why you made it. But he's like, he tells me all the time, he's like, I've just learned to stop worrying about it because God, He just takes care of me.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
It's the hardest thing, because
it's the simplest thing, but it's also the most challenging.
Yeah, like you hear Jesus' words about like, trust me, because like I take care of the birds, they eat fine, they have a place to stay, all this stuff, and you're like, yeah, like I see that, I see the bird in the tree,
I see it,
but the bird's not me.
Yeah.
And I have all these things, God, that like they seem like they're just not gonna work out, and then it's when you I don't know, it's like when you're at your breaking point and you're at rock bottom, that's when it seems to have worked out. And it's just you've been broken down so much that you're finally you have to give it to God and just let Him.
And that was one of the biggest blessings, dealing with what I dealt with on the last contract. I said, we were stuck at sea, and I was on the complete opposite side of the world, and my grandmother is dying. Like that was very, very traumatic. But in that moment, I had no other choice, no other person to lean on but God. I wasn't with my family. The few spare moments that I had where I could talk to them, where the internet was working that day on the boat or something, they weren't there. My friends' friends were not there. The people that were on the ship with me, like I could talk to, and some of them are my really, really good friends, but I really, really had to sit down and say, it was definitely God being like, I'm showing you right now, you have to trust this. And it all worked out. Like I thought that I was like, I'm gonna sink on this boat. Like I'm never getting out of here. Like it was bad. And on top of all that, in the middle of me weeping and wailing and gnashing my teeth and beating on the bed and just on my hands and knees all the time, praying and reading scripture and stuff, I had to go upstairs and sing like Sweet Caroline and Piano Man and make everybody try to entertain everybody and have a good time and play
That's
pop music trivia.
Yeah.
I had to put on this face, sort of a facade, in the midst of absolute like trauma and turmoil.
Yeah.
But that was one of the things that I think was one of the biggest blessings, was God showing me how much I need to trust on Him. And
yeah. Do you think there's a kind of fake it till you make it kind of aspect to that, of like, not necessarily fake it, but like,
no, it is absolutely.
Okay.
Are you kidding?
Of
Yes.
like, so.
Nobody knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
Nobody in the world knows what they're doing.
I remember it was actually at Grace. I was really in a dark spot with my faith, and I was like, I don't know if I'm doing everything that you're supposed to do, and I don't feel close to God at all. I haven't felt Him in years, and it's like that moment where you like, I'm teaching a Wednesday night class, and it hits me. I don't believe any of this, and that's a very scary spot, because it's like, but this is my whole life. This is my goals. This is my identity. I'm the preacher kid, and then you're standing up there delivering this message, and you're like, I'm lying.
Do you know how many times I have gotten up to sing on Sunday mornings and been like, you need to resign. You don't need to be doing this anymore. You're a horrible, terrible person. You don't feel this. You're sitting up here lying in front of these people. Everybody goes through that, I think.
But then like the weird thing was like going through this season of almost going back to the basics of the faith, like introducing myself to Jesus again,
reorienting yourself.
having to like completely reorganize everything.
Yeah.
Deconstruct for sure. Then reconstruct. There's this, one of the things that I've learned is that it seems that some of the ancient Christians, the way they got through those seasons of what was like setting up these little rituals throughout their life, these events that like reminded them of who God was. And it's like, you're not going to feel like reading your Bible every time you go to read your Bible.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you shouldn't go read your Bible.
Exactly.
It's, you put that discipline in your life, and that hope, the goal is for that discipline to cultivate the right emotions in your heart to get back in touch with Jesus. Yeah. And it's like, I kind of think about it like with like working out, of no one wants to go work out every day.
Are you kidding? No.
It sucks.
And people, listen, if you're listening to this and you're like, you're a 5 a.m. kind of person, a 5 a.m. clubber, and is this you, Austin?
I tried it.
This
and
is Kobe Thomas. I'm talking to you,
yeah.
Kobe. Kobe, just go ahead and say it. You're better than me. I know you want to say it. You get up every morning at 5 o'clock. You've got 3 kids, and you go to work out. You just say it. You just say you're better than me. I know that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
That's to all the 5 a.m. people. I'm glad that you got up and got a workout before my feet hit the floor.
Let me publicly say, because I never actually addressed this, I quit going to the gym at 4 a.m. I can't. Yeah,
dude.
I'd be there before Kobe, because we go to the same gym.
Oh, the one in Lincoln?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I quit that because it was this weird thing too of,
man, I need to.
For
Honestly,
years,
I need to.
the best time for me to read and like spend time with Jesus is in the morning. I'm like the morning, that's my time. If I try to do it later in the day, it's not happening.
Yeah.
But then I was like, I really want to like work out in the morning. Like, I want to be that guy.
I tried to be that guy. I couldn't do it.
So I tried it, and I was like, I'm gonna do 4 a.m. workouts, and then I'm gonna go read my Bible later in the day, and it'll work out. I quit reading my Bible.
Yeah.
I got it
distracted.
just
all the other stuff.
Yeah.
All the other stuff started happening.
And then sin creeps into your life. You're not focused on Jesus. Everything starts being affected, because the thing that's supposed to hold you and like ground you in life, you've let slide away. And it wasn't on purpose. Yeah. And so I've had to quit going to the gym at 4 a.m. and I'm like, I've taken time off from working out to get my spiritual life back in order, because that's,
you got to keep the main thing.
Yeah.
That's it.
But yeah, it's kind of like with working out, of you work out because you know you're going to get the result you want. It's not because you feel like it or you want to do it. It's, doing this is going to make you feel better about yourself. Yeah.
In the moment, it sucks.
Yeah. And you won't see the results always, right? Like, you never see the results right away.
Right. No.
It'll take months, maybe years to get the results you want. But it's that consistency of like, I'm going in there even when I don't feel like it, knowing that 3 months, 6 months down the road, it's going to pay off.
Yeah.
And I think that's the same thing with like your relationship with Jesus. If like you put in those rituals in your life, those disciplines, because you know long term they're gonna pay. They're gonna pay off.
Yeah.
Same when I was going through the deconstruction period. It wasn't that deep theologians who got me through it. It was the song "Jesus Loves Me, Yes I Know," for the Bible tells me so.
Hey,
of like
back to the basics.
I was all the way back to the
Yeah.
basics, because it was like at that point I was questioning if God loved me, because I felt like the worst sinner in the world, and I was questioning whether the Bible was even something I should base my life on, and is Jesus real and all that stuff. And I needed to go back to the basics, and that song started ringing in my ears. And then it was this it started ringing in my ears because I listened to this band called King's Kaleidoscope.
Oh yeah, I know King's Kaleidoscope.
And their album Zeal, where they make a whole album about they're in this deconstruction period and they're wanting to get that faith back, that zeal that they had for Jesus when you first become a Christian. You're super pumped. You're like, we're taking hell with the squirt gun. You know? You want that energy back, but like over the course of the Christian life, you kind of just you get numb to things and you try to burn out.
The junk starts to take over.
Yeah,
you know?
And so they make
Life
this
stuff.
They make this album about it, and it's this journey back to that point when you first met Jesus and what that was like. And they have old on one of their songs of like the climax of the album, it's his mom as a kid singing Jesus Loves Me, Yes I Know, on this like old recorder.
Wow.
And it was like this beautiful, like I remember crying listening to that the first time, because I was like, oh my God, Jesus does love me.
It's true.
Yeah.
He does.
But it's those simple words that my parents planted in me years and years ago that got me through the darkest moment. And it's like I could puff myself up with all of these theological books, but it was the kid song.
Simplicity of and I mean I think there's something to speak of that, of having a childlike faith. I know for you and I, we have sort of similar experiences where I became a Christian pretty young, pretty early, and as a kid you have nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
So nice. Praise the Lord that I had great parents, and I was never want for anything. So you don't have to worry about all the junk that comes later on in life, because that stuff can end up, making you question your faith.
Yeah. It reminds me of what you just said of Ecclesiastes is talking about how it's like, I don't remember the exact quote, but it's, as you get older, you naturally just start to become the grumpy old man. Because it's not because the world's necessarily getting worse. It's because you're experiencing more of what the world actually is, and it's weighing down on you. As a kid, it's fresh and new.
Yeah, you have no idea how bad the
That's
world
why I
is.
like working with middle school students, just because everything is fresh and new, and they're just excited to be alive.
Yeah.
But as you get older, you're like, I don't want to be alive.
It sucks here.
Yeah.
It sucks a lot.
But then it goes back to that Ecclesiastes where he's like, everything is mean. Like none of this actually matters. All this stuff that I'm worrying about, all these stresses, the stuff, these empires I'm building, it doesn't matter because it's gonna be gone. And so I might as well enjoy life. And the only way I'm going to enjoy life is by, like you said, focusing on the main thing.
Keep the main thing. Yeah.
Of that, when you get your relationship right with Jesus, he magically starts like impacting all these other areas of your life, and you're just like, you start to see the beauty in things again. And it's like he's uncovering it of like, I remember one of our first conversations years ago.
You and I?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was talking,
back.
I don't remember what we were talking about, but I remember saying it, and it spoke maybe more to me than you. But
and you said it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of like just thinking out loud of driving through downtown Valdosta, and before I'd just be like, oh, God, I hate this freaking traffic. I hate all these people out here, like they're bugging me out.
Just people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then Jesus, like, he gives you a new perspective on things, and you look around and you're like, that man who's digging in the trash is so beautiful. Like, he's
a child of God.
Yeah. And like you start looking at things differently. You start looking at the buildings, you're like, all this stuff is going to be restored. Like, everything that is in this world, like, God is trying to work to restore them to the beauty that they actually are.
Yeah.
And it's this beautiful thing, because then it makes you a bit more positive person. Yeah. It's hard to keep that in your life.
Yeah, sure.
Because, again, life comes and it weighs down on you and it crushes you. But I don't know, that's one of those disciplines that is hard to keep in place, but it's important to keep in place, of trying to gain that perspective on God again, on what he sees the world to actually be.
One of my favorite lines, when you said that, it rang in my head. Do you know the musical Les Miserables? Les Mis is what people call it.
Oh, I've heard of it. I've never watched it.
It's incredible. It's amazing. It's based on the novel by Victor Hugo, which is like 3 textbooks long. It's huge. But the musical's great. It's pretty much all sung through, and it's the story of it's a redemption arc for the character of Jean Valjean. He kind of started his life as a convict and a not great person, and then he decided to sort of orient his life around God, and making a new life for himself with that. And he shed his old self and he started afresh after he got out of prison. And at the very end of the show, there's this line that I sing to myself all the time, and it's after, here's spoiler alert, pretty much everybody in that show dies. It's during the one part of the I think it's one part during the French Revolution, so pretty much everybody's dying. Anyway, the line is, to love another person is to see the face of God. And
it's getting hot in here.
Oh,
yeah.
That's why we're opening the door. It is a little warm in here. I think I'm talking too much. What was I saying? Oh, Les Mis. To love another person is to see the face of God. And I think that is such a great thesis statement. To when you look at another person, when you love that person, you're seeing God, not just in them, but I think also in yourself, that you have that capability to love and to view another person as another lovable human being, I guess. I say that to myself all the time. To love another person is to see the face of God. Yeah. It's deep. You should check out Les Mis, dude. It's great. It's awesome. The music's great.
It reminds me of a quote I used to have on my board at the house. It's a quote from Mr. Rogers, where he says, like, everyone longs to be loved and to feel lovable. And it's just like that reminder of, like, at the end of the day, you may have personality differences, political, whatever differences, but everyone deep down, they long for the same thing, of to be loved.
To be loved. Yeah,
and then for him to say that as, like, this Christian minister, and his whole goal.
He's Presbyterian minister, right?
Okay. Yeah, the whole goal of his ministry is to share the love of God, and to let you know that you're made in the image of God and you're you have worth and value.
You're in the image of Him. To see the face, to love another person is to see the face of God. Yeah.
And that's so beautiful.
It's great. Oh, I'm jazzed now. I'm gonna go listen to it in the car.
So what? We kind of hit on it earlier. You talked about how, like, as a kid you had this idea of, like, the only way I can, or you struggled with the only way I can use my gifts is
if I go straight into ministry. Which that's not a.
So what would be how as a Christian do you engage with the arts? Like,
ooh, okay, we're getting deep.
What should your purpose be? Does it, if you don't want to, write Christian worship songs? Yeah,
there's this, and I did say it before, but there's this sort of not right way of thinking where, like, Christianity and the arts are at odds with one another, and that is complete hogwash. I mean, if you really go back to basics, I mean, the ultimate creator, big C
Yeah.
creator, is God. Like, he ordered and created all of this. So as a person, being able to express yourself in that way, it is very transcendent. And it does touch on the divine, because I mean, look who created everything. And if you go back to like one of the first sort of commandments that God gave in the garden was to be fruitful and multiply, which also speaks to order and creation in a sense, because your life is being created. So I think for people who say that the arts and Christianity have no place with one another, I think that's just like a curse on your family, a curse on your house, because it is one of the most important things that we can do as human beings. Like, every human being, no matter what your culture is, no matter what your background is, we express ourselves, and we create culture through art and through that expression. And art is such an interesting thing, because like, how do you define art? What do you define that as? Is it a means to an end? Is it an end? Which of those is it? And I'm towards the more bend of, I think art is, quote, not a useful thing, as in like, it's not there to serve any other purpose that is going to be of use other than expression of creation. So am I rambling? Sorry.
No, this is
super
good.
Philosophical.
This is good.
We art is the end. It is the end, not the means to the end, but it is the end. Is the way I think about it. Did that answer your question? I feel like I was rambling a little bit.
So what do you mean by end? Of like
it doesn't, like, you're not going to, what's a good way to say it? I don't know. I guess it's just that its purpose is to be viewed and seen or heard.
It's a reflection of what?
As a reflection, that is the end. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That is the end. It's not the means to an end. That is the end.
Yeah.
Once it's out there, it's done. That's it.
Yeah. Okay.
Does that make kind of sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
That was kind of heavy. I'm sorry.
It's good.
That was super heavy.
Okay. Yeah, it makes me think too of like, it's crazy that in the Christian world sometimes there's that war that seems to be going on of like Christianity and the arts, and it's really weird because the holy text that we use is one of the most artistic things ever created.
It is the story.
The more I've tried to understand like the Jewish literature and all that stuff, the more you see all these patterns and how like, oh, this was like really thought out. This is really beautifully crafted. There's reason behind like using this word here, and you're just, like the different genres and stuff that play into it, and you're just like,
it's great.
Oh my gosh!
Like, I mean, you like you said, you look at the Bible, you look at scriptures. In scripture, we have so many different narrative forms that are going on. You've got poetry, you've got historical things that are going on, records of that. You've got narrative history. Like, that is the story. Like, that is the capital S story, is the story of redemption and the story of God's love. So again, he is the ultimate creator, big C creator.
And it's crazy because it's like this idea that there's Christians who are like fighting against the arts, when the thing that changed the world is this work of art that we call the Bible.
Yeah.
And it's like, We talked about it in the worship episode that we recorded, and it hasn't came out yet.
Oh,
But
okay. Excited to listen to it.
me, Ryan, and Chase were talking about how we went to this bar to listen to my friend Zane play.
Zane.
And
Yeah.
yes,
I know Zane.
love
Yeah.
Zane.
Yeah. Shout out to Zane.
Yeah, we talked about you. Yeah.
Love Zane.
I went to see him at Arlen's, and I've never been to a show like this or anything. I've never done anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I brought my boys, and we're sitting there, and they're both musicians. I'm not at all. And I don't even know most of the songs, but I'm just like observing everything. I'm like taking everything in, even the disgusting bathroom at Arlen's.
Oh God, it's
that
gross.
made me realize
So,
never go to the bathroom
good
at this
Lord,
bar.
No, go somewhere else if you can.
But I'm watching. There's a song that started playing, and I got it on my phone.
Zane they were playing?
Yes. Let me find the name of it because I think it will help make sense. "Creep" by Radiohead.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
They're playing that, and Ryan and Chase are like, "Oh my gosh, I used to cry to this song in the car when I was like a kid." And I'm watching everyone around them, and like they're like emotionally connected to this song.
In it. Yeah.
And it's hitting me like, oh my gosh, this song that came out years and years ago is speaking to all these different, this diverse group of people, and it's like hitting a chord with them.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It's touching on that part of us that we all have.
Yeah, of like music, the arts, they're this tool by God to help us connect to like the deepest parts of us that we don't know how to communicate with.
Exactly.
And then there's these group of people who God has gave them the gift to get that communication out there.
It's a high calling.
And it's this beautiful thing of like, when you know how special that gift is, you could do so much with it, because it's not, I hate this because it's kind of like the issue I have with some of like the TikTok world and like
I'm not
these
on TikTok, so
I'm not either.
I don't know.
But like keeping up with some of these influencers who are like, they're these kids, they get into TikTok, they become super famous, but they don't actually care about the craft or the art.
Yeah.
And then they go and make big movies and stuff like that, and you're just watching them and you're like, this is like Jake Paul. This is all about the money.
Who?
It's all about, yeah. You really?
I'm really old.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Oh wait, is he like he was on YouTube,
Yeah.
right? He started on YouTube. Is he
He's like a boxer now? Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I know who you're talking about.
But you're watching these people, like these influencers, make transitions into different skills and like crafts and whatnot, whether it's music or movies or boxing, and they're entering into these spheres where there's people who really care about the art of boxing or the art of music or whatever, and then you have people come in who could care less about it,
Yeah.
but they know they can make money on it.
Yeah.
And it kind of reminds me of the same issue I have with some Christian movies of, you guys don't actually care about the art and the craft of telling a beautiful story and connecting with people.
Yeah. Yeah. You just want to slap Jesus. You want to
Yeah.
slap Jesus on
It's
something
that-
and call it a Christian movie.
Yeah, it's that Simpsons episode where Homer goes to heaven. He lies about going to heaven, and all the Christian movie execs come and to his house, and they're like, "Ooh, we can promote it like this, and
Yeah.
ooh, let's add this into the story to make it more like enticing." And the whole time, Bart's lying.
Yeah, and I think you're touching on what a big problem that I have with what we call quote unquote like Christian art and media is that, well, you just got to slap Jesus' name on it, or you got to say something about God somewhere in there, and we're gonna call it a Christian movie. The movie sucks.
Yeah.
The movie might suck, and like, why is it any different? What makes it more or less Christian to have a person who is like for instance a movie, like if we're talking about a movie, if you are using your God-given gifts to create a beautiful movie, beautiful cinematography, great script, you've got a great director, you've got all these wonderful people that are on board that are using their craft and using their thing for for the glory of God. That movie might not necessarily be what we call a quote Christian movie, but that is no less glorifying to God than our quote unquote Christian media is. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I sing in bars and you know, I sing, you know, all these secular songs and stuff, that doesn't make what I'm doing any less
honoring to God.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
There's such this there's this thing, and we've been talking about it. We've been going around the whole issue the whole time of, you know, why do Christian artists have to say something about God in order for it to be God honoring or something like that? You know what I mean? Why does their art have to be that? Why can't it just be, you know, why can a ballet dancer who is perfected her craft, or his or her craft, and pulls off the perfect pirouette, that in itself is showing the beauty of like our design as humans, and like our artistry. It's pulling off something as beautiful as that, you know. I'm kind of rambling now, but
no, you're good.
Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
of like
that's why I have such a problem sometimes with Christian media and Christian, you know, quote movies and Christian music sometimes, is because it's kind of not great. Sometimes
and we talked about this too on the worship app. Me and Ryan we were really into like Christian hip hop, and you had like Lecrae and Andy Mineo come in, and they paved the way, but it was a tough battle because they're constantly having to have the conversation of, are you a Christian rapper? And they're making this transition of, listen, we love theology and stuff like that, but we want to make music. We want to just be the best musicians.
And that is glorifying to God. They're right there themselves, trying to be the best and bring that honor.
It's that struggle of like, they're making love songs to their wives, and they're having to answer to the church of like, well, why didn't you make a love song to Jesus? And they're like, there's 1,000 of those, man.
Like, and like me loving my wife is Christian. That is a Christian thing. I hate when things are put into boxes. Like, oh, well, you're a Christian artist, so you can only sing Christian music. You can't ever sing a secular song.
And we only do that with the arts of like, you don't do that with me as a cabinet maker. I don't have to slap Jesus onto the back of my cabinets.
That's exactly you. That's the nail right on the head. Why is it art that has to be quote Christian?
Yeah. And like Lecrae would constantly push back. He's like, you don't call a plumber who's a Christian plumber.
No.
You don't. That's not how you advertise him. You say he's the best plumber. He's going to unclog my toilet. He does the job well, and he does it at a fair price, and he treats his customers good. That's what makes him a good Christian plumber. Of like, he's just doing things to the best of his ability. And the same with art. Of you just do things to the best of your ability. I remember learning some about like the old Reformation, the paintings that came out during the Reformation.
Oh yeah.
And how some of the beauty in those wasn't that
you were looking at an image of Jesus or an image of something of piety. It was just the actual artistry of the painting.
Yeah, right? And it's beautiful everyday life of just women working, or the family, and it's just ordinary life. Yeah. That's all they were painting about. And that was what made it so beautiful and impactful.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I don't know. It's that weird thing that I don't think as the church we talk enough about it to help our congregations understand, like, you know, it's okay for you to not, you don't have to sing all these songs about Jesus at the bar. Like,
Well, and I remember one of the first times I played a gig like that. I remember some older Christians that turned their nose up that I was going to go play with all these sinners, you know, that you're playing all this secular music, and there's all this alcohol, and, you know, people are, you know, you're playing at a bar. I'm like, well,
you won't let me play.
I mean, yeah, like, so does that mean that I can only sing Christian music in the church? Like, I can't use my gift anywhere else? No. Using your gift is using your gift.
Yeah.
You know?
And sometimes the hypocritical part of that is like, the same people they gladly would listen to a secular artist who doesn't claim to be Christian at all. But then they will critique the Christian who is entering into these spaces that are secular, who keeps their faith intact, but can still connect with the audience in a way that's not explicitly Christian.
Yeah. Sort of kind of going off of that, and you kind of mentioned this before about all these people singing that Radiohead song.
Yeah, Creep.
Everybody's singing it, belting it out, like feeling it in the part of themselves. That is, that is sort of the feeling that I get when we're singing in worship. It's the same sort of commitment, and I think that's why music in general, like music for me, is one of the highest forms, because it does touch on that divine part. Music is one of the things that we have on both sides of eternity. We have music here, and we're gonna have music when we get to see Jesus, right?
Yeah.
I think about that a lot and say that always brings me back to, hey, you have a really high calling, and you need to take it seriously, and you don't need to mess around. You need to take it seriously. But that sort of communal singing, and that it's something that all cultures do. We all get together. I don't know what it is. We all get together and we all sing together, whether it's in unison, whether it's in harmony, whether it's a Radiohead song, or whether it's a hymn from the 1800s. There's something in that.
Or Purpose by Justin Bieber.
Yeah. There's something when we're all singing together that it really hits on that divineness, and that sort of transcendence that we don't get with other things in our life. And that's why I love music so much. All music. If you were to look at my shuffle on my phone, like, you'd think this guy he's got multiple personalities. Because I just love music in general. I can't get enough of it.
Okay. How would you? I think sometimes the struggle too the church has is we don't actually know. Like, as a consumer, we don't know how to engage with the arts. If we'd watched maybe a movie by Tick Tick Boom, and maybe we feel something watching it, but we're like, I don't like how can this be glorifying to God?
Sorry, I cut you off.
No, you're good. Yeah.
I had a thought of.
Go for it.
I had a thought. I mean, art is what we're doing is, like with Tick Tick Boom, that is highlighting a part of ourselves that is scary, and it's highlighting a part of our sin nature, which I think we need to talk about. Like, that's why things like that. That's why you cry at movies. That's why you cry whenever you hear a really sad song, is because it's touching on our humanness, and I think that's really important. Was that answering your question?
Yeah. Of like just letting people know, like, it's okay that you're feeling something as you watch this movie, or you hear the song.
That's the reason it was created, was for you to feel something.
Of like getting those emotions out of you is a very important part of being a human. Is like you don't want to bottle them all up. If you're feeling depressed, it's not good for you to just keep all that in. Like, you need to have some type of relief, get that stuff out of you, and deal with what you're feeling. And the beautiful thing about art is that it allows you to it helps you get those feelings out of you and help you like sort through of like, okay, I'm struggling with hustle culture, and I feel like my time is running out. And as you're thinking through these emotions and you're getting all these feelings out, you're then like, okay, this is how Jesus is going to interact with those feelings and emotions that this art sparked in me.
Yeah. It does. It's a spark. It's a spark. Yeah, that's exactly. And that's why whenever you talk about a creativity, we use the term, you got a spark of creativity, or you got a spark in you. And it's like, it's a flame. Yeah. We got real philosophical.
Yeah. It was so good.
This was great.
Yes. Thank you.
No, thank you. This was awesome. I was really nervous before I got here, and this was so chill. I loved it. I was really nervous about saying something stupid, which I definitely probably did.
No.
If I upset anybody, Kobe Tomlinson, I love you. I'm sorry. Please don't stop working out at 4 a.m. just because I got mad at you.
Yeah.
He knows. We talked about it. But yeah, thank you so much for having me. This
Thank
was a
you.
blast.